The NECA Ultimates Sesame Street action figure line is a dream come true for me. A high-end, collector-focused Sesame Street action figure line is something that I've been hoping for ever since I first learned that Palisades canceled their own Sesame Street action figure line back in the early 2000s. I never thought we'd actually get something like this, and I can't believe we finally have it. This toy line is made by NECA, who makes a lot of really great action figures as part of their Ultimates line. They have a variety of licenses. You've probably seen a lot of their figures based on horror movies, both new and old. Some of their other licenses include The Simpsons, the Ninja Turtles, which I've come very close to buying some of their Ninja Turtles figures. They did a line of figures for Back to the Future, which I've also come very close to buying. And if you're a Henson fan, then you're probably aware that they also have done some figures based on dinosaurs. But now, they've gotten a pretty significant license in the form of Sesame Street, and have started a brand new Sesame Street action figure line with its first wave consisting of Ernie and Bert. Following them, we'll be getting a few other characters. The Count is next to come out, and at Toy Fair they just announced Big Bird, Oscar, and Harry Monster. Each of these figures come in a beautiful window box packaging, which when you open it up, you can see the figure inside right there in the store, which is super nice. As you can see, these are really good looking figures. Not just the figures themselves, but also the boxes are incredibly impressive. I'm so excited to take a look at these. They were very clearly inspired by the Palisades Muppet line and the canceled Sesame Street line, especially with each character including a Muppet letter and having all of the sort of felt detailing, very similar to what we saw on Palisades figures. The sculptor for these figures, Paul Harding, has shared online these figures with his own Palisades Muppets, so it's clear there was some connection there, but these also have all of the modern amenities of current action figures, so higher quality articulation, alternate heads, hands, and a boatload of super fun and obscure accessories. And what better characters to start off with than Ernie and Bert, right? Hello everybody, and welcome back to Moptown Funk. I'm your host Ty, and today I'm so excited to be taking a look at the NECA Ultimates Ernie action figure. So let's get started. I found this at Target. It recently released. These all cost around $35. They're at about a 7-inch scale and come in these beautiful boxes. Now, NECA always does really nice boxes, kind of themed after movie posters and stuff, but the last thing I was expecting was for their Sesame Street figures to have their boxes based on the Sesame Street Treasury books. When I first saw this, my jaw dropped. This is genuinely absolutely incredible that they did this. It's pretty niche, but it's classic. You know, it does kind of prey on your nostalgia, I guess. But yeah, the Sesame Street Treasury was a series of books released back in the day, in the earlier years of Sesame Street, with each one focusing on a few different letters and numbers, full of a bunch of really cool, fun stuff. Some beautiful artwork here. We have these sort of letter blocks and number blocks, which are kind of carried over onto the side of the packaging here. These are full of stories and character profiles and activities and comics. They are so nice. Unfortunately, this is the only volume I own, but let me know in the comments if you guys would like to see a review of it. I would absolutely love to take a closer look at this. But yeah, you can see that it's a pretty close match, pretty heavily inspired by it, with the same sort of font and everything. You can see Sesame Street presents Ernie NECA Ultimate action figure featuring the letter C, just like how here it says what letters are included. Volume 1, since Ernie is the first figure, reminiscent of Volume 9 here. Some differences, of course, from this to here. Another notable difference, of course, would be the different Sesame Street logo with 1, 2, 3 instead of CTW. Another very cool thing that they did. Actually, before I go to that, let me talk about the artwork here, because the artwork on these is absolutely beautiful. This is fully original artwork of Ernie. It looks absolutely perfect. We got Rubber Ducky, who looks a little strange there, but it's definitely just some artistic license. Absolutely adore how this looks. Something that I love about these figures is that they actually credit the people that worked on it on the bottom, so we can shout out Aaron Hazuri here, who did the beautiful artwork on the box. I absolutely love this. Aaron Hazuri also did the artwork for Bert. I'll have to see if they continue to do the art for each of the figures. But yeah, a detail that I didn't see when I first saw these online that I absolutely adore is this right here. If you've read any classic Sesame Street book, no doubt you've seen this adorable logo of Ernie and Bert reading together, and NECA cleverly reused this logo and made it into their logo here instead of the logo that it used to be. Pretty cool. I really love that. It's not on my copy of the Sesame Street Treasury, but again, it's a staple of old Sesame Street books. We have an age label for 14 and up. Again, these are sort of targeted towards adult collectors, or I guess teen collectors, you know, just older collectors. Sesame Street presents Ernie. Loving the artwork here. Absolutely fantastic. #1. These are going to look so great when there's a whole line of them all together, each with the different volumes and the letters included. I can't wait to see it. On the back of the box, we have some images of Ernie. These were some promotional figures for him online. Now, my Sesame Street Treasury volume has nothing on the box except for some crayon markings for some reason, and just a little label. So I do appreciate these images that still work very well within that Sesame Street Treasury style. You can see Ernie with the letter C there, Ernie and Bert together, another picture of Ernie together. And when we open up that box, on the inside, we get a beautiful photo of Ernie in a little diorama reminiscent of his apartment with Bert, and the figure itself, which as you can see includes Ernie, a rubber ducky, an alternate head with an open mouth, 4 alternate hands, the letter C, and his painting with Bert. As far as these figures go, he is one of the ones with less accessories, but he does come with some pretty substantial ones with the painting, and of course you gotta have a rubber ducky in there. Another thing that I absolutely adore, which we'll take a closer look at when I pull him out of the box, is this original artwork behind him as well. So much effort went into these. I think honestly the price is worth it for the box alone. Absolutely incredible. Before we open them up, I do once again want to go over all the people that worked on this. I absolutely love the fact that they are all credited here. Steven Mazurek, who did the photography that we see all throughout. Travis Hasbeck, who did the packaging. Paul Harding, I already mentioned the sculpt. Jeff Trapp, Mike Puzo, Roger Fernandez, Randy Folk, Stefan Falcons, and Trevor Zammit. Shout out all of you guys. You're doing incredible work here. But now it's time to get this out of the package. It shouldn't be too difficult. Something that I really appreciate is that it looks like it's going to be pretty easy. Yeah, I just got to cut this, just one little piece of tape. It looks like it's going to be pretty easy to preserve it. With how nice this box is, it's definitely a box I want to save, and I don't know, I might put Ernie back in the box at some point and continue to display him. I know that on my shelf when I add these, I'm definitely going to keep the box here behind them. Alright, so I've pulled off the tape. Now I should be able to carefully pull open the box. Let's see here. There we go. Alright, now it's time to free Ernie. Oh my gosh, I can't believe these are finally out. I honestly didn't think I'd find them in stores, guys. I've been looking for weeks for these. They were delayed. Originally, they were supposed to come out at the end of 2024, I think, and they kept getting pushed back again and again and again. But here they are finally, and look at this absolutely beautiful artwork on the inside. Let me pull it out so we're not just getting my reflection in there the whole time. Here we go. Oh my gosh, look at this. This is all original artwork in the same style as the artist who did the front of the box. I love that the artist is consistent throughout. Look at this. This is beautiful. They even had the CTW sign. Wow. Oh my gosh. You got kind of the courtyard here. Cooper's store off to the side. Pigeon on the ground. Very appropriate. We even have a Twiddle bug here. That would have been a cool additional accessory to add for Ernie, a Twiddle bug. You got the whole cityscape in the background with some clotheslines, ABC written there, and you can also see the stoop of 123 Sesame Street peeking out. What's behind Bert's? Does he also have a town set up? Oh, he has the same one actually. Okay, it looks like he's got the same thing. Okay, I thought it'd be cool if they give him different artwork and maybe they connected or something. Oh, this is absolutely beautiful. You know what else is? Ernie! Oh, we did it! Oh my gosh, he's here! Now, I should probably preface this by saying something I'm not sure I've said on this channel before. Ernie is my favorite Sesame Street character. I know I've done 2 videos about Bert in the year I've been doing Sesame Street content, but Ernie's my all-time favorite. Ernie's just one of my favorite characters in anything ever, quite frankly. We're gonna very carefully pop off all of his accessories. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Ha 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 ha. Let's pop out the C. Again, I do want to try to preserve the plastic in case I want to pop these guys back in. Rubber ducky, you're the one who is out of the box. Okay. I've got all of the alternate hands, which are actually kept in a little tray there. Let's try to keep the hand sets together so I know which ones go with which. Not like that really deeply matters. It's so crazy that we're at a point where there's a highly collector-focused Sesame Street action figure line with alternate hands. That's wild. Ernie! Be free, Ernie! Hold on, I'm gonna do this off camera just so that I can have a bit more control over the angle. Is a bit hard to pop them out here, especially with all that spiky hair. Okay. It's really deep in there, as you can see, and the ears are kind of recessed in. Let's see. Maybe if we start by trying to pop out the ears. I'm so nervous to break the hair or something, or the ears. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna cut and I'll be right back. All right, I got Ernie's head out. There he is, the open-mouthed alternate head. Then I cut all of the ties on him with little rubber bands, and now Ernie is free. Oh my gosh. Oh, look at him. Oh, he looks fantastic. I cannot believe these are finally here. Like I said, they got delayed quite a while. I'm surprised I actually found them in a store. Like I said, I picked them up at Target. They've been showing up in sort of that back section where they keep like the Funko Pops and a lot of other NECA stuff. Before we take a closer look at Ernie, I do want to take a look at his accessories very briefly, just to go over them. Up first, of course, we have a Rubber Ducky who looks on point, exactly as I would expect him to. He's got the little sort of pursed lip duck face going on. He's looking up. Pretty accurate. Pretty accurate. I don't know. I mean, it's perfectly posed to what Rubber Ducky looks like. I really can't complain. And I can only assume that one of Ernie's sets of hands is designed to hold Rubber Ducky, right? I think we could see that. Yeah, we'll have to figure out which of the hands is made for holding Rubber Ducky. Unless it's his default hand. We'll have to check that out a bit later. Ernie's other most notable accessory is, of course, the Ernie and Bert painting, which is a sticker, which you can tell because mine was misapplied. Unfortunately, you can see there are some pretty ugly lines in there, which is really a shame. Luckily, at a lot of angles, you can't really see it. Okay, never mind. At most angles, you can see it, but we're just going to ignore that it's there. That is unfortunate. These were the only ones in the store, but if your store is getting multiple, perhaps the application of the sticker is something to look for. I think mine is just an unfortunate example. I'd love to be able to peel it off and put it back on, but I mean, that's not going to happen. But it still does look pretty accurate. I'm not sure which incarnation of the painting it's supposed to be, but it does look like the modern sort of current one, which makes perfect sense. That one has been there for a very long time. Got the picture frame around it, and I was wondering how you were going to stand it up, and I was very surprised to see there's actually a hole in the back to mount it to a wall. If you want to, you know, put a nail somewhere and hang it up, that is insanely cool. Other than that, you're kind of out of luck unless you want it standing down here. I may have to do that. I may have to put some sort of hook on the back of my shelf where I want to keep these and hang that up. If not, it's going down by Ernie's feet. And finally, his last accessory is this letter C. Now, it is interesting what letters they've chosen to include with these characters. He comes with C, and Bert comes with A, but something that we saw at, I think, Comic-Con last year was that it seems the first four figures will spell out the name of the company, NECA. I've had people ask me, mainly my family members, when we brought these home, why Ernie didn't come with E and Bert came with B. I don't know. I mean, I know they're trying to spell NECA. I think that's a little stupid. Like you make good figures, but I don't need their accessories to spell out your name. That seems kind of self-serving. Especially because E is a letter in Ernie's name. Would have been nice to include, but whatever. You know, the letter of the day doesn't typically correlate with a specific character. As long as we get multiple letters, I'm afraid this might be something that they drop early on in the line. And I would like to see the letters continue to be featured because they're kind of like fun pack-in characters. We got the letter C there. I can only assume these are all based on real Sesame Street letter characters. There's no mouth there, which is odd, but there's not really space for one. And I believe kind of in universe. Not all the letters we've seen have had mouths. He's really nicely textured, very similar to a Palisades figure, with all those little dots on the inside to make it look like foam, which is so cool. Again, this was a scrapped concept for the original Palisades Sesame Street line that never saw the light of day, which I believe also packed kind of random letters in. But yeah, I'm genuinely very impressed by this. There's a little flat part there if you want to stand him up on the ground, which we can do right there. All right, put those together. And now it's time to take a closer look at Ernie's hands. Ha, fooled you. No, I'm just kidding. But he does come with those alternate hand sets, which we'll swap out a bit later on. Sort of these grippy hands, and then these sort of pointing hands. They're basically copies of each other in different directions. Anyway, now displaying the head in the background would be weird. Let me put Rubber Ducky there instead. Okay, now it's time to finally take a closer look at Ernie. Oh my gosh, this guy looks great. Now again, these are roughly around a 7-inch scale, I believe. Bit bigger than Palisades figures. Unfortunate that they don't scale entirely. I guess these two do kind of scale, but I mean, Rolf is a pretty large Muppet, you can see. Yeah, not entirely in scale, but that's fine. NECA kind of does their own uniform scale for their figures. Ernie's a short character, so Bert would be a better comparison. You can see that Bert and a lot of these other characters are going to tower over the Palisades figures, so they're not really in scale with each other. I guess Rolf is kind of a bad example, because from other things I've seen, they don't scale well, which is fine. You know, again, it's a different line made by a different company with the Palisades figures clearly in mind, but still. You know, what are you going to do? That is just how they do things. Ernie looks really great. I feel something looks a little off with his face, maybe. Something that I like about both Ernie and Bert that I think we'll continue to see with the other figures is that I can't really pinpoint which version of the characters these are based on. It's kind of an amalgam of what Ernie typically looks like. You know, it's not really current Ernie, but it's not really classic Ernie either. It's just kind of, it's just Ernie, which is something that I really appreciate. I'm kind of glad they didn't choose one very specific Ernie to base it on. Of course, he's got his smile. Ernie's one of the only Muppets with a permanently built-in smile no matter what when you close the mouth. He's got his little dimples there. Absolutely adorable. He even has his little smile dimples incorporated on his artwork. Ernie smiling is such an important element of the character. Like I said, the Muppet even has that built in. Ears there, the eyes and the nose look fantastic. The hair is a sort of soft rubber piece that doesn't seem like it'll snap or break, which is really nice. There are a lot of hairs on his head, as you would probably expect, but when you move to the back, he's completely bald back there. Like I said at the top of the video, these have sort of all the modern amenities of current articulation. So Ernie's head is fully on a ball joint. So you have a beautiful range of motion, a bit stifled by the collar, but I'm just still in shock that we have a Muppet figure with a ball jointed head. This is really nice. Yeah, that sweater vest turtleneck is going to get in the way of posability, but the way the head is done, you can really get a lot of poses in it. From the alternate head, you can see how they pulled it off. The neck is actually kind of built into the head. A lot of action figures I collect a lot of like Marvel Legends and Star Wars figures. They don't really, they don't include the neck with the alternate head. It's something they've been doing a bit more recently, because I think they realized incorporating the neck actually gives you kind of a better range of motion. So Ernie has a very impressive range of motion, and something I love is that you can't really see the joints. You can't see the joint in the neck. So there's not like a big apparent space, and that is because he wears the turtleneck. In general, you can't really see the joints on this figure, which is really nice. They are there in the arm. They're pretty visible, but they're hidden here, and they are hidden here by his pants. Maybe it's just how Ernie is dressed. He wears big baggy clothes, and that kind of helps hide those joints. Maybe for a character where that's not really the case, they'll be a bit more obvious, but yeah, I mean, it's an action figure, you're going to see those joints, but that is kind of nice. I'm still just impressed by that range of motion. You can really get Ernie's head into so many poses. You can look up, you can look down. I am very impressed by that, but of course, if you're tired of Ernie's face, You can very easily pop off that closed mouth head and now have, ooh, headless Ernie. Oh, he's looking for his head. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Hey, good job, Ernie. You got it, buddy. You can see, yeah, that ball joint down there. Very easy to pop the head off, which is nice. A lot of figures that I have with alternate heads, sometimes it can be a bit difficult. Something really cool, they even detailed the inside of the turtleneck that you won't see. The turtleneck itself, at least on the body here, is sort of a soft plastic piece. You can feel the plastic of the chest here, but it kind of becomes a bit more hollow here, which is interesting because this is right where the torso sort of puffs out for Ernie's tummy. Let's pop the head back on before I talk about him anymore. Here is the alternate head. Let's see. Should go on fairly easily. Come on. Hold on. Let me do this off camera so that I can concentrate on it a little more. Hold on a second. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. That was an absolute pain to put on. The fact that Ernie's got this big collar combined with the fact that he has hair, so there's not really anything to stabilize when you're putting the head on, combined with the fact that the neck being included obviously gives it more range of motion, but also means that the ball joint is really recessed in there. It was quite difficult. It was not sticking on, but now I finally got it, and I think it should be easier from here. I think I am going to keep him with this head just because I prefer him with that sort of open mouth look. And again, you still do get that wide range of motion, which is very, very nice. Something to be noted about the alternate head is that it actually has this pretty notable seam line across the back of Ernie's head, which is not present, or at least not visibly present here on the regular head. Of course, they have to combine the two halves of the mouth somehow, but that is just something that should be noted. Maybe if there's a certain way you want to display him, if you don't want that shown. If you look closely inside the mouth, you can just barely see, yeah, there is a seam line there. But look at that. Look at the quality of that and the hair and all the little foam dots on the face. Absolutely beautiful. We've got his little tongue there. And like I said, the smile dimples are included, which is really, really nice. As I previously stated, this is sort of a soft plastic piece that kind of pushes out to fit the shaping of Ernie's chest, including his belly there. You also have some really nice stitching detail in there, which just adds to it. The stitching detail is actually also present on his arms, albeit to a lesser extent, and obviously those arms are fully plastic. This looks kind of weird. It's like they made a little divot for Ernie's arms to rest. I don't know how I feel about that. It's funny, all my complaints about this are things you're barely going to see. Oh, that's weird. There's a seam on the back of the head. Like these are things that are just kind of necessary evils. Yeah, that's there so that the arms can rest at his sides. The arms are pretty well jointed. Let's see. Yeah, we got a ball joint there. Again, Ernie's clothing is gonna kind of cuff that. I do appreciate the kind of wrinkles here to imply that his arm would move here. We have a hinge here, hinge on a ball joint. So if you want to commit a crime against fashion and misalign Ernie's stripes, you can. But they are pretty easy to line back up into the right position, which is super nice. Obviously, you're going to have that exact same movement with the other arm there. So you could get Ernie into a wide variety of poses. Of course, and to help you with posing are his selection of alternate hands. So these are Ernie's regular hands. This one is kind of pointing outwards. They're both kind of open palms. I believe that this is the one designed to hold a rubber ducky. At least that's what we see on the box. Let's see. Ooh, okay. He's not going to get like clicked in, but I think he should kind of balance in there. Yep. All right. There we go. He balances in there just fine, so Ernie can show him off to Bert and any other unwilling parties. But again, we have a variety of other hands you can give Ernie. We have this pointing hand, so he can get ready for some sick children's education moments. Let's pop that hand off as well. Can rubber ducky, I assume, fit in both of the hands, or is he just designed for the one? I guess if you face them backwards. Yeah, they're basically the same hands mirrored each time. So there's the pointing hand. alternate pointing hand or other hand pointing hand. Ernie doing some finger guns. Look at him. He looks like he's starting a party. All right, everybody, let's get started. Woo! Pop those off. You know, there aren't really many accessories for these figures, too. That looks disturbing. He looks like he's about to get Count Dooku'd. You know, there aren't really many accessories for these characters just yet, but I'm sure as more come out, we'll have more. We know the Count is coming with the telephone to sort of recreate the sketch where he and Ernie answer calls. So maybe these gripping hands, hopefully in the future, can hold some accessories. Because for now, we don't really have anything to hold. Maybe you could hold Bert's book or something and taunt him with it. You want to read boring stories? Not on my watch. I think for now, just because, you know, the hands don't have that much of a purpose yet without other accessories for him to hold, I think I'll just keep the default ones for now, especially because this one is made to hold Rubber Ducky. But yeah, really, really nice that we get so many alternate hands and different options and stuff. You can really display them any way you want. We have a full ball joint down here, so you can get a range of motion. Ernie is probably, can he sit down? All right, good. I was concerned that he might not be able to sit down because of the sweater. Maybe not entirely. It's more of a laying down, but if we bend his knees, could maybe get him to sit down a bit better. I'm just thinking if you want, like, to make, like, Ernie and Bert's chairs. Okay. All right, he could probably sit. Oh, yeah, he sits just fine. All right. But, yeah, we've got his little jeans there. And you can just see how the sweater kind of works and morphs to account for everything. Really appreciative of the jeans, like I said earlier, hiding the leg joints pretty well. We even have the little seam of the pants there. Really, really nice. All over. Great, great detail. You can see the joint on the back there as we straighten out his legs. A bit of weathering on the jeans, which is nice. And then we have his shoes. First off, I love the fact that the jeans have the little ankle parts there. They have the bottoms incorporated, which is really, really nice. Just very, very, very high quality jeans. Good job on that one. We've got his sneakers. I'm not a big fan of just how dirty the sneakers are. I think there should have probably been a bit less weathering detail on there, in all honesty, but I don't mind too much. Again, all my problems with this figure are pretty small ones. On the bottom of the shoes, we have some of the necessary copyright information, Sesame Workshop, NECA, etc., as well as your little peg holes for the feet. And there you have it, guys. The NECA Ultimates Ernie. This, what can I say about this that I haven't already said? I am incredibly impressed by the quality of this, by the appearance. It really looks... Okay, I gotta do something about that painting. It really looks really, really great, incredibly accurate to the character, and I'm so excited to see what we continue to get as the line goes on. My biggest problem is probably my painting sticker being misapplied and some of the very small details on Ernie, but yeah, I'm so excited. This line is just starting, and I can't wait to continue collecting it. This is insanely impressive. And yeah, shout out to NECA. You guys did some incredible work. I can't wait to take a look at Bert, which we'll be doing on the channel very, very soon. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Bye now.